In tonight's 7 Up Front report, we're celebrating Black History Month as well as taking a closer look at how the pandemic is impacting African American communities. Joining me now is Neil Barclay, the president, CEO of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit. Mr. Barclay, thank you for being there.
Good evening, Dave. Good to be here. No question.
Yeah, let's start with the impact COVID-19 has had on the African American community and the tribute you put together at the museum for victims.
We did. On our website, we have tried to recognize those who have passed away from the pandemic in a section of the website called In Memoriam. It's mostly focused on our neighbors here in Detroit, but we also have highlighted some important figures in African American history who have passed due to the pandemic.
One of the biggest figures in Detroit's art community was Charles McGhee, who passed away earlier this month. What did his art represent, and why was it so important to this city and beyond?
Charles was such an incredible artist, but he was also a very generous person, both with his time and his care and love for the African American community here in Detroit. In 2016, I believe it was, we were fortunate to commission a sculpture that is on the Charles H. Wright Museum campus. That's a large campus that's focused on unity. It's called United We Stand. And in this moment, of course, even with his passing, he leaves us a message that we constantly need to remind ourselves that united we are stronger than we are apart.
Indeed, and in fact, just getting through this very turbulent presidential election in this country, one of your displays is an interactive exhibition called Voting Matters. Tell us more about this.
Yes, Voting Matters was an exhibition that we opened in September prior to the election. What we were looking at was the role that African Americans have played in securing the right to vote for all people here in the United States and in fact in democracies around the world. So the exhibit looks at everything from the pre-Reconstruction period and the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. But we also look at some things that people may not fully understand, the Electoral College, how that works. We also, this year, the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, really wanted to highlight the role that African American women had in that movement. We don't often hear about the women who were such an important part of securing the right for women to vote, but we also highlight that in the exhibition.
Very important given what has transpired for sure in this election cycle.
This election, indeed, yeah.
Yeah, the museum was closed for a number of months due to COVID-19, like so many institutions, but you're open to the public now, right, with social distancing, and you would encourage Detroiters and residents in Southeast Michigan to come and see all that you have to offer there?
Absolutely. We were closed in March until July 10th. We opened on July 10th, and we're now open Thursday through Sundays at the museum. You do need to go online and make a reservation because, as you mentioned, we are restricted in the number of people that we can have in the museum at any given time. But basically, once you reserve your place and time, you're able to come in and enjoy all we have to offer at the museum.
And finally tonight, I guess your message that you'd want to send as we honor Black History Month in this country, in this community as well.
Well, it's such an important moment, isn't it, for us to remember how African Americans have really changed the face of the United States and the world, but also to come to terms with the inequities that have been a result of our history in this land. And I think that now more than ever, us beginning to understand the depth and the contributions of the role of African Americans in American life is something that we all could learn more about and take to heart.
Yes, and we've seen those inequities play out as a result of this pandemic as well, and so there's much work to be done. Neil Barclay, we thank you for joining us. Continued good health and good success at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. We thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Glenda?